Today, we are joined by Grant Kahl as part of our Local Heroes series. Grant is through his freshman year at the Colorado School of Mines, and he has been working on a project that could help people all around the world. So, Grant, tell us a little bit about your project and what got you started with it.
So the project is a low-cost ventilator unit. And so what a ventilator is it's manually breathes for someone that's like in critical condition or is unconscious and can't breathe for themselves. And currently, like right now, like high-tech units are $15,000 and more in the United States and around the world, which kind of prevents it from being found in like low-income areas or third world countries. And so how I got into it actually was with the COVID pandemic coming through the United States and through Italy and China. There's all these like news reports about how these countries are running out of ventilators and like having to come up with these like really creative solutions and how to like have two people on a single ventilator, or there's just shortages in them across the world. And so the maker community in the United States kind of came together and everyone was trying to make these low cost ventilators. And so since I came home due to COVID, they closed down our school. I came back and I can't stay still for long. So I got together with some old friends from robotics teams and UT Austin and A&M. We kind of developed our own little ventilator here. And initially it was to help meet the United States. Everyone was like predicting that we were going to run out of ventilators and like the hospitals were going to be flooded. And thankfully, overall, like we've handled it very well as a country as far as getting the ventilators done. And it hasn't been as bad here as in other countries as far as like the death rate or the need for these ventilators.
Let's talk about you for a second. I mean, are you in... You're at the School of Mines. Obviously, engineering is in your future and it's in your current life today.
Yes.
As you design these things. Have you always done sort of robotics? Has that been a love, mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, or just building things generally?
I've been building things since like the third grade. I joined my first robotics team and kind of just fell in love with it. I've been building Lego sets since I was little. And just kind of gradually got into more and more complex stuff, like electrical engineering and mechanical stuff. It's been a passion for a really long time.
So have you talked in this ventilator at kind of a low cost, sounds like a much more simple type of machine. Have you talked to any manufacturers, or have you gone beyond the design and sort of the initial phase of this?
We've started talking with a few. We're really waiting for getting our results back. So we currently sent off the unit to the Joint Force Base, military base in San Antonio. They have a medical team that was going to do diagnostics on it and do like stress testing, kind of make sure it met all the criteria that a ventilator needs to have. And so we gave it to them 2 weeks ago. But since things kind of happened here, we haven't really been able to get the results back yet. So we're kind of waiting on to see how viable this is a solution first before kind of trying to push it forward with manufacturing.
Did you talk to any of your professors as you were doing this? Did you call on the School of Mines at all to give you a hand?
I've talked to a few of my fraternity brothers about it. A few of them have like experience with kind of getting a product produced and created. But I really haven't talked to my teachers much, and I really need to talk to them about manufacturing, especially. Because if we do decide to go further with this, then that's going to be a huge part of it, is making it more easily manufacturable. Okay.
So how many of your buddies have you been working with on this? And you said one was at A&M and UT Austin, or who all have you been talking to?
So it's our whole team is 8 students. Most of us are freshmen in college this year. We have one senior from UT who's an old buddy of mine. There's two of us from Mines. Me and Karina Samuel have been on this.
So again, we were just talking about your robotics team. So tell me about where they are, and are they all in engineering too? Is that what they're pursuing?
Yeah, either engineering or computer science. So three of them are at UTSA for cyber security and software development. The rest of us are looking at mechanical and electrical engineering.
Okay. So do you come from a family of engineers, or you got any siblings doing the same kind of thing you're doing?
So both my parents are PhD doctors. Well, not doctors. My dad is a PhD medicinal chemist, and my mom is a PhD biochem. So very much STEM related. I grew up in a STEM household pretty much. My dad's done drug discovery.
Did they give you a hand at all on sort of designing or developing this ventilator?
My dad was a huge help. Well, not necessarily with the designing aspect, but with outreach and getting like connections with people. We got meetings with like local distributors for parts and stuff. Pisco is a huge robotics distributor. And we got meetings with them, the military here, and the manufacturing people. We have talked to a few that my dad had connections with. So he's helped us push us along further than I could have ever done, or any of us, because we're so new to this. And
so your parents should be part of the local heroes.
No, definitely.
What are their names so we can add them to this interview?
Jeffrey Kahl and Brenda Kahl.
Nice. Well, it sounds like you come by your desire to build and design and things honestly. So have you, in doing this, have you spoken to doctors or hospitals about what it is that they've seen in terms of how effective your machine could be?
Mm-hmm. We talked with the local hospital here who's dealing with most of the COVID patients in San Antonio, kind of just to address like what is the need for this, or like what our machine needs to actually do. And from the beginning, we designed it to be like a manual breathing unit. But through talking with these nurses and doctors, we realized that it needs to be a responsive unit that actually reacts to the patient's breathing. And so through talking with them, we've been able to like shape this into a more like a functional unit that can actually be used.
So when you say a responsive unit, it sort of has its own, not artificial intelligence, but it says, okay, it's very light breathing. We need to help him. Now he's starting to breathe better. The machine can back off a little bit, or is that what you're talking about?
A little bit. What it does is it measures when the patient's trying to breathe. So when the diaphragm is trying to contract or expand, we can measure the pressure in the lungs of a patient and help like just kind of push the air in or help pull it out, instead of just forcing air in and out, which through these studies and through talking with these doctors is actually really, really harmful for these COVID patients, because their lungs are getting holes in them and filling with fluid. And if we don't have responsive breathing, it can just make their lungs so much worse by forcing air in.
So it sounds like a much smarter unit kind of a thing.
Yeah. So it started off with just trying to have a basic breathing. And it's really turned into, we're trying to replicate what these advanced units are doing with a fraction of the price or a fraction of the cost and materials needed for it.
Wow. Well, did you ever expect your freshman year you'd be building a ventilator?
Oh, no. It's been a wild freshman year.
Well, and what's the status as the School of Mines let you guys know whether you're going to be back on campus or it's going to be virtual or what?
We're going to go back. I think 80% of all classes will be in person. We have the option to do them online if people have health concerns. There'll be a lot of changes. We have like required masks and sanitation practices now. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting back to school.
Well, when you come back to Colorado, we'll go have a socially responsible, socially distant a cup of coffee at Higher Grounds or something over by the
I love
campus.
higher grade.
I'd like to buy you a cup of coffee.
That'd be great.
Well, this is, we just appreciate your willingness to, look out for, your community, your country, your world, by making something that is so important now, because there's still, it appears that in Texas, in Arizona, and Florida, the health systems are getting stretched. The ventilator numbers are okay, but they're getting tight as well. So this isn't going away.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, San Antonio's just been hit really hard recently. Like a bunch of my friends' parents are doctors for the military bases, and it's definitely not going to go away anytime soon. But
well, we're making some progress on vaccines, so the chemists in your family are probably happy about that.
Oh yeah.
But hopefully, we do have a vaccine that we can really start inoculating people by the end of the year. But even so, a smart ventilator like you're proposing at a fraction of the cost will help people all over the world. So, Grant, I'm going to let you close out this local series edition with whatever you want to say to the people in Jefferson County and in Adams County. So Golden and Wheat Ridge and Westminster and Arvada, whatever.
I just want to say I love the community and the place there. I come from Texas, so it's such a cultural change for me to be there, but it's a beautiful place. I love the people, and I just want to be a part of the community and help out whenever I can and just help make a difference wherever I'm at.
Well, you are making a difference, and we're glad you were willing to join us for our local heroes interview today. So stay healthy, keep working. I'm going to buy you that cup of coffee when you're back in town.
That'd be great, sir. Thank you so much.
All right.